it play and call it work.
Hey there, Wargamers, Josh and Lee here to bring you this week's Sit and Talk, the show where you send off some questions and we do our best to answer them. Try to be somewhat informative, but mostly we just kind of ramble on like two old men.
Yeah, because we are.
Yeah, basically. I recently turned 31, so I think I'm officially old man status now.
I mean, I'm only, 14 years older
Yeah,
than
I
you?
know. At this rate, I'm going to catch up to you pretty soon.
Yeah.
So, keep in mind that next week is going to be Quirk answering questions. So, if you have any questions, leave them for him on this video. Make sure you address him, something to grab his attention. I think the easiest way this time will be to simply call him by his proper name, which is David. So,
yeah.
David.
We actually never used that one.
No. So, leave any questions you have for Quirk, whose actual name is David, on this video.
Yeah, because Quirk's his last name.
Quirk's his last name. That's his actual last name.
Yeah.
So without further ado, we're just going to jump right into the questions. I really haven't read any of these, but I know sometimes you read ahead, Lee.
Yeah.
So we're going to sort by newest first.
Ooh.
I didn't think it would take this long to load.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing. Lee, do the happy troll dance. Why isn't it loading? So what you been up to while this is loading? Like what's new with you?
Bored
Anything?
stuff.
Bored stuff?
I'm not as in I'm so bored I could die.
Okay.
But the new Epic table.
And here you go. We have it loaded up. First, we have a question here from Big Mikey. So, let's see here. What questions does Large Michael have for us? Questions round 2. Yeah, because you left some other questions, I think, on here.
Yeah, we're doing newest first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh, IPAs are just pumpkin spice lattes for white guys. Change my mind. They are. You can't.
I don't understand what that means. IPAs?
India Pale Ale. Beer, like it's a style of beer,
Okay.
and it's probably so like most of the time you get to stereotype like all the different like hipster craft beers. They're all IPAs.
Okay.
Not all of them, but a lot of them. Yeah, no, they 100% are. There's no changing minds on that. Personally, like I can appreciate a really good IPA, but it's not my first choice. I'm more of a stout kind of drinker. But pumpkin spice lattes, you can only usually get certain times of the year.
Around
The multitude of IPAs are just
October-ish?
Yeah.
Around Halloween, maybe? Because of pumpkins?
Perhaps. Well, it's just that it's the kind of like the fall spices that you get into.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's definitely just pumpkin spice lattes for white guys. 100%. So there's no changing your mind if you're correct. Other than, like I said, they're not seasonal. So there's your difference.
But
Lee.
they do have seasoning.
Oh, old man jokes.
Hey!
Lee, what's the most random time you've gone into work because you've had a spurt of inspiration or just really bored, etc.?
Most random time?
What's the most just like...
From 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock?
Well, okay, so let's... Instead of giving it an actual time, like, have you ever just, like, woken up, like...
4 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, like, you just, like, all of a sudden, like, you wake up from a dead sleep and you're like, I gotta go build this now.
Yeah.
Well, what's the most random one?
I don't know.
You ever been just, like, pooping?
No.
You're like, oh, I got an idea.
Build something.
Let's speed this up. Thanks again for all you guys do. Well, thank you, Mikey. It's you guys supporting us that keep us going. And, well, like, people like you coming into play that keep it going.
Yeah.
You'll beat me one day. Next up, we got Axis 762. Lee, what's the deal with gnomes and elves in Iceland? Do they really change the paths of proposed roads to go around their apparent enclaves?
Apparently they do.
Wait, you don't want to piss off the gnomes?
No, I mean, like, there's been a bunch of stories about, like, someone's making a mountain road and then there's huge boulders in the way.
Yeah.
And whatever they do, they just can't remove it because the machines keep breaking down.
Okay.
So it's an actual thing. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't believe it, but
Is there certain places where, I mean, like if you go back into folklore that, you know, this certain area is supposed to be something and they
Yeah.
just don't develop it, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff?
oh yeah. Or there's like just this big boulder in the middle of a field that nobody can move because there's dwarves in it.
Yeah, the gnomes put it there.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a thing. It looks like a weird question, but yeah.
That is a regular occurrence over there.
Yeah. And usually, I think it's basically when something breaks down while trying to move something. That's what.
Just kind of that funny bad luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just like, oh, must be gnomes. I'm like, no, just move the rock.
Billy doesn't know how to use the heavy equipment, but no, it's the gnomes.
The gnomes.
Josh and Leah. This is from Weird Hunter. I have a few questions when it comes to trying to prevent spindly figures like the spooky night haunt from breaking. Firstly, would using plastic glue instead of regular super glue help reinforce them any, since it basically melts the parts together? Okay, so let's deal with that one first.
Short answer is yes.
See, I was going to say no.
Plastic glue would help.
Now, it depends on where they're breaking at, though. Because my thoughts are that if you use plastic glue, that will have a really strong hold, but it's going to break at the next spindly part.
Yeah, well, that's where most things break anyway.
Yeah, so...
But they're not going to break at the seams. They're going to break where the spindly part connects to the base.
Right.
That's probably the most dangerous spot.
So, yeah, because that's the thing with most of the ghosts. It's like the wispy kind of tendrils that head down to the base. So, I don't know if plastic glue would help there, because, like I said, my opinion on it is that it's going to not break where you're gluing it together anyways, probably.
No, probably not.
So, that might not help that much. Would using something like Army Painter's The Dip help make them less likely to break? I'm already going to magnetize for safe transport. That's what I was going to say, actually. Do you have any other tips? So, do you think using the dip kind of method of washing miniatures, will that create enough of a shell, you think, to help at all?
It shouldn't.
Won't make them any stronger. Yeah. The only one I can think of, like, I wouldn't recommend doing it, but I remember way back when, before washes were like really readily available, using mini wax, like floor wax kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But those miniatures were indestructible.
Yeah.
I would not recommend that, because they're still going to break it. The spindly bits with Space Marines, which already are pretty durable anyways. Yeah. But other than magnetizing to the bases for safer transport, that's probably your best idea.
No, you're talking about like magnetizing the miniatures to the bases or the bases to something else?
I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. Because I'd say the safest one...
Because if you have a strong magnet under the base, and it's just standing on a plate, then it's going to be relatively safe.
Well, and that's good. It depends on the case too. So I would look into. I think people have heard me go on and on about how much I love the tableware cases.
Yeah.
A case like that, where you have your freestanding miniature and you get a magnet on the bottom and it magnetizes to a plate and it just gets to stand up. It's not foam keeping it safe.
There's nothing next to it. It's just a magnet holding it.
That might be the best way to go about it. And you can get those little cases. They've got the little skirmishy kind of looking cases for relatively cheap.
Yeah.
That would be the route that I would go, is instead of trying to do something different with a miniature, just look at the best case option.
Yeah.
And it depends on how...
It kind of sounds like that's what he's doing. Anyway.
Yeah. It depends on like how big of a collection you're traveling with, but even like... I remember when Doug showed up with his case that his Marines were in, he had like a 2,000 plus point Space Marine army in the smallest of the little cases.
Yeah.
Like they were in there, they were pretty tight base to base, but they were all safe and sound.
Yeah, he didn't use the slaughter.
I don't think he used the spacers, no. So that's what I would recommend. Next up, we got Jen Elmo. At Josh and Lee. I believe Josh said that he's planning on playing Azog's Hunters, but do you, Lee, have any interest in the Middle-earth strategy battle game? And if so, what army?
Not really.
No?
But if I was forced into it, I'd probably use the undead.
Okay.
The ghosts.
Use like the Angmar kind of spooky ghost
Kill,
setup?
kill everything, guys.
Okay, sorry. Would you do the bad guy ghosts?
No.
Like the evil ghosts or the good guy ghosts?
Good guy ghosts.
That's the Dead of Dunharrow or whatever
Yeah.
it is, I think. Okay, you'd be going those ones?
Yeah. Because it's an easy paint job.
That's fair. Now, what about strictly from... So that's from a...
Because Games
collect-
Workshop only has like one undead line.
Yeah.
So.
So would that be... Yeah, because they've got different undead stuff, but it's the evil stuff.
I
Witch
haven't
Kings.
seen that. Yeah, well, that's... No.
Well, like his minions, they got some evil ghosts.
Oh, I didn't know. No, I'd probably go Pelennor Fields.
Yep.
Eating elephants.
That is, yeah, because I think there's, for the Dead of Dunharrow, there's 3 choices. There's the king, and then just the ghosts on foot, and they get the ghost cavalry as well.
Yeah.
That you see in like 2 scenes in the movie,
Yeah.
if you squint.
If you really, really pay attention.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
If you know where to look, yeah, you see them.
So, yeah, that's probably what and that's just because of the color scheme.
Okay. Is there, because you own some stuff randomly that you thought was cool that you bought back in the day, right?
3 models.
What 3 are they?
I have a mounted ring wraith,
Yep.
the old metal one, which is all scratched up, and an unpainted Lurtz,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm probably going to give to Luca.
Yep.
And an unpainted Elrond on foot,
Cool.
which is, yeah, they're just there for some reason.
You just bought them kind of because you thought they were cool.
I think
back
I
then?
actually might have gotten them as a commission and never got them done.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I'm kind of excited. I think, my capability for Azek's Hunters are kind of limited. Actually, Dan from Max Aggression, he shot me a text, I don't know, like an hour ago. Most of my stuff is in, I think, so I gotta go pick it up. It's tough to find the characters right now, though. We haven't had any luck with that, because he was supposed to have some coming in. Stupid fly. But yeah, he wasn't able to get them, so we'll see. I'm kind of excited for it. Steve's got his Rohan stuff pretty well done. Like, he's got to do the guys on foot. And Luca's been working away. I think he wants to play Isengard, but he might end up just doing Mordor more than anything else for the first little while.
Well, he's putting up Uruk-hai now, so...
Oh, is he on his
Yeah.
Uruk-hai? Because I know he was doing the Isengard troll.
Well, he's stripping them anyway, so...
Oh, okay. That makes sense. So, yeah, we're all pretty excited for it. And Kenny, Luca's buddy, has got the Goblin Town Goblins. And he's been painting away at them, so they're looking pretty good.
Scrotum beard.
I know, it's such a weird-looking model. And, well, character, I guess. Let's jump over to the next one here. How are we doing for time? We're doing fine for time. We don't have as many questions as we normally do, so this won't be like the giant marathon, I think, that we get sometimes. Unless we get off on an old man tangent. Joe, 8170. Hey, Josh and Lee, hope you're both great. I'll get right to it. Josh, who do you think would win in the Grey Knights and Death Watch went all at each other strictly lore-wise? I don't know the actual...
Grey Knights or the Death Watch?
Grey Knights or the Death Watch, yeah.
Do they have any size restrictions?
As far as, like...
Organization.
I don't know. See, I was going to say, because I don't know what the actual force disposition looks like. Like, I don't know how many Grey Knights there are in the lore and how many Death Watch there are at any given time.
Yep.
So I guess if all the Death Watch were present, because they've got different Watch Fortresses stationed all over the place.
Well.
And as far as I know, the Grey Knights are just all stationed on Titan. But they both have capability to go fast. And it's just like a straight-up pitched battle.
Lore-wise, though.
Yeah. That'd be a tough one, because, I mean, hypothetically, I think the Grey Knights would have more experience at fighting other Marines, in the sense that they're going to run into chaos.
Well.
But the Death Watch are pretty specialized, and, I mean, the whole point is that they should be able to adapt to just about whatever gets thrown at them. Both
But
sides...
they usually don't get called in unless it's Xenos.
Yeah, they get called in for Xenos, but what I'm saying, like, they're kind of compared to traditional Marines, with the Codex Astartes being limiting tactics and things like that, like, it's a very much, this is how we fight. The Death Watch kind of, they're allowed to be a lot more autonomous in the way they choose to fight, so they might be able to react a little bit better. Grey Knight's got them beat as far as it comes to Psychers, but Death Watch are no slouches, because there's a lot of librarians.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's a tough one.
No, they could always recall old members.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It'd be a good fight. I think Grey Knights, just in the sense that, they're a little bit more elite.
Yeah, because they're all psychers.
Yeah.
And they all have force weapons.
Yeah, I think Grey Knights might win that one, but the Death Watch would have a chance.
Yeah.
Depends on... Yeah, there's a couple different things going on. I think it would depend on the battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
And how much advance warning there is. Because I think if the Death Watch have the chance to plan and prepare, they might be able to win that one. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, I have 3 Grandmaster Dread Knights in my Grey Knights army because there's really no other option, but it bugs me because I think to myself that there's only 8 in the whole chapter. What are the chances of 3 of them turning up? How do you feel about this? About lists like this? Do you try and add some fluff, or do you play what works? Okay, so Grey Knights overall, I'm not a huge fan of them, army-wise. But yeah, no, I see your point where if you got 3 Grandmasters leading a force of a couple scrubs,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense. Because as far as I know, there's probably 1,000 Grey Knights. The chapter size is probably...
Yeah, that's the one thing
Standard.
I don't know. I mean, is each branch 1,000? I mean, how many are there?
Yeah, I'm not really sure because I don't know that much of the newer lore for Grey Knights when they're fighting as one big force instead of just, sending a squad. But yeah, with lists like that, I try to typically avoid things like that. Like when I build a list, I want something that's effective and I want something that'll hopefully match my opponent. But I want to be able to tell, I want the story to make sense in my mind of why these guys are fighting together.
Yeah. Why they're even in close proximity to each other.
Why are they all there? And I think there's certain armies that I've seen that are counts as armies.
Yeah.
But Grey Knights would be tougher to pull it off with. So yeah,
So don't do that.
Overall, yeah, I personally don't like that because, like you said, it breaks the lore.
Yeah.
But some armies have to do that to, swing at the level of other armies. So I don't know. I look at the guard and I can build a guard list and have almost any kind of backstory I want to, and it'll make sense.
Yeah.
Because you can get away a lot easier with having, an extra company commander instead of a platoon commander.
Yeah.
Because of, it doesn't actually make that big of a difference stats-wise.
But he said, well, there's 8.
There's 8 Grandmasters, so it's when you bring 3 of them.
Yeah.
So I have no problem with it's just, with the guard, how good of an officer is it for handing out orders?
No.
And, they're Mordian, so they're all tough as nails. So I don't mind the stat differences.
With the guard, they actually make more sense.
Yeah. So yeah, you can get away with it easier with certain armies. So I don't know. Not my cup of tea, armies like that. But that's part of why I don't play Grey Knights. That's part of why I like the Death Watch too, because you can make almost any kind of weird flexible force, and as long as there's not more than one Watchmaster there, it should still make sense. But there'd still be instances that you might have a couple of the different Watchmasters there.
Yeah.
I've never had the inclination to. But yeah, having a couple captains running around with some super elite little squads, that works. Play a different army. Play a cooler army.
This is why we need the Force Org.
Yep. I think it'd be kind of handy to have limitations on certain ones.
Yep.
Well, I don't actually...
Says the guy who doesn't play 8th edition.
Yeah. I wonder, because I've never actually looked into it, and I'm sure you can. If I was playing Ultramarines, because I know you can spend command points to upgrade a captain to the Chapter Master. But can you also take the name Chapter Master? Can, Kelgar be there and you spend 3 command points to upgrade another... Actually, no, you not even upgrade. You just take a Chapter Master.
Yeah.
I don't know how all that works. I don't like it.
No.
I'm upset you pointed it out to me. Why'd you do this? I have stuff to concentrate on, not talking about this. I don't like that. I really don't like that.
Nope.
Lee, this is a really simple question, but I cannot highlight on the edges of models. I know it's simple, but whenever I do, it just looks messy and rubbish. Do you have any tips?
Well, it all depends on what colors you're trying to highlight.
Okay.
Because if you're doing just black with a gray highlight, you can always use the black to like erase
Yep.
the highlight. But it depends on like what colors you're using. Shoot me an email. Lee at MiniWarGaming.
I'm curious because if you're doing edge highlighting and you're bad at it, because I'm bad at it too.
Yeah.
So I can say the reason I know that I'm bad at it is that I put too much paint on the brush.
Yeah.
So it's sloppy. I wonder if you.
But you want it to be wet though.
You want it to be wet, right? But
and like. Yeah, and you just say what was it? Just model. Then you don't
highlighting the edges of models. So I don't know. I assume he's painting Grey Knights.
Yeah. But Space Marines are tricky.
They're a lot more tricky to do well than what people assume. Like they're super easy to do like basic.
Yeah.
And that's part of the joy of them. But yeah, they can get a lot trickier after a little while. All right, let's see here. We got Gray Army Gaming at Josh and Lee. This is a 2-part question. Part 1 is for Josh and part 2 is for Lee. Thank you for laying it out. I know what I'm getting into. Josh. MiniWarGaming has a ton of awesome terrain and battle mats. How do you go about choosing the particular terrain mat for each of your bat reps? Okay, so I'm going to answer these one at a time. The way that I go about it is when I talk to my opponent, I kind of say, what sort of mat do you feel like playing on? Do you got any favorites? That's part of the conversation I have with people when they first come in. And because there's a lot of the times it's people saying, I really love this mat and the terrain you have for it. Can we play on this kind of a map? And I go, yup.
Okay.
So yeah, most of the time it's just me and my opponent kind of deciding. If they've got a preference, then I go with that. And if they don't, we kind of wander around. We look at some of the terrain, see if if they don't really see any mats that spark their interest, we'll look at the terrain. And if they like certain terrain they want to use, then we'll find a mat that matches it. So yeah, a lot of times it's up to the guest. How do other content producers go about choosing? I don't know. I don't actually know.
Luca doesn't like to play on anything that doesn't have snow on it.
Yeah, Luca loves the snow mats.
And the snow terrain.
I think there's certain favorite things too, because I think, myself to a certain degree, there's certain terrain pieces that we as content producers really like. So if our opponents don't care, then we're going to end up on a desert mat with the big stone formations, the big rock formations.
Yeah.
So if you see me using that stuff,
houses.
Yeah. If you see me using that stuff, it's because my opponent said they didn't care. Do I have particular terrain or mats that I prefer? Yeah, okay. So I find I like a lot of they all make good mats, but I find the tableware ones are probably the ones I'm drawn to the most. Because there's some good variety there. And a lot of them seem to go really well with some of our terrain. The one thing that you notice me use a lot is the desert terrain, the big tower-looking rock formations, as well as like the oil refinery-looking stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like that terrain, and I find it's easy to make cool-looking boards with. Are you ever disgusted by another producer's choice? I think disgusted's pretty strong. There's sometimes I'll go in and look at a map and be like, that's ugly.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? The one I'm going to totally throw him under the bus because he deserves it. Quirk was playing against, I think, Mike with a big beard a while ago. And they set up a board, and Quirk, it was like, there was next to no terrain. It was basically a super open board, and Quirk brought a super shooty towel list. And that was the one that I'm like, yeah, no, that's terrible. I think that was like one of the least popular MiniWarGaming bat reps too. So it's yeah,
which is pretty funny because Quirk usually makes pretty decent tables.
He has some really good looking tables. I think. Oh, let me. I was gonna say mine are really good, but I'm like, nah. Quirk, when he puts his mind to it, makes better tables than me.
Matthew does.
Luca does.
Steve does.
Steve, not okay. So the thing about Steve's is that he makes the best functional tables.
Yeah.
But they're kind of ugly sometimes.
Meh.
But they're really good and functional game-wise.
Yeah, that's all he's thinking about.
Yeah. So yeah, very rarely disgusted.
Yeah, you never walk into a room. Blah!
That is terrible. I hate you.
I have to go to be sick in the bathroom.
There are times that because usually the way I'll do it is I will talk to the guests. We'll figure out the mat. We'll figure out what sort of terrain we want to use, and then I will just grab terrain, bring it in, put it on a side table or on the table, but not set it up, and tell my guests, I'm going to keep bringing stuff in, and you just set up the board. The only time I'm like, yep, that's not going to work is if there's roadways and the buildings don't match the roadways.
Yeah.
Like there's the corner of a building jutting out in the middle of a street. I'm like, nope, can't do that. It's going to bother me.
Yeah, you have to follow like what's on there.
Yeah, but that's about the only time. Okay. Lee, given your aesthetic sensibilities as an artist/painter, what do you think about the aesthetic choices of the producers with respect to terrain and mats? Do you have a preference for terrain or mats? Keep on keeping on, guys.
Well, I don't have a preference because I don't play that much. But yeah, like I said, with Josh's answer is most of the guys make decent tables. And like when you have like a building jutting out into a road or whatever, it doesn't look good.
That's the worst.
Yeah. Sometimes I think Matthew goes a bit overboard with the terrain, but that's the way he likes to play. Because I personally think we use too much terrain.
We do. Yeah, we use probably more terrain than we should.
Yeah.
But it's part of, our shtick for having nice looking boards.
It looks good.
Actually, you know what? Sometimes Matt's boards, I'm like, this is terrible. Because he doesn't take into account people trying to get their giant hands in to move miniatures and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain mats that boards that he set up that I look at it and I'm like, this can be such a pain in the butt to film on. Like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even going to be able to get the camera in to get good shots. Like, but that's about the worst that happens.
Yeah, that's usually what happens in his, like, small skirmish campaigns.
Yeah. They're really great looking boards.
For dioramas.
Yeah. Or even, like, playing on if you didn't have to film.
Yeah.
But, like,
trying to have, like, a model somewhere inside something and you have to figure out its line of sight.
That could be a pain. Or, like, very precise measuring.
Yeah.
Or when you're holding a camera with your dominant hand and you have to use your non-dominant hand to somehow get in there and move that around.
Yeah.
On camera. That's always fun. All right. Let's see. We got time.
Sorry I didn't have a better answer for you, but
that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. Jay Smythe. That's what I'm going to call it.
Yep.
Lee and Josh. Quick question each. Lee, I'm building my own AdMech army.
Don't.
And I'm after a model for my Forge Mistress, Adept Letty, to use as an alternative to Belisarius Call as my HQ. I have basic kit bashing skills. What would you suggest?
Yeah, because Call's the big dude.
I'm going to answer part of this too after, but I'll let you go first.
I don't know what to say, though.
Oh. No?
No.
So.
No, here you go.
Here's my thoughts. Depending on the lore, because we're talking AdMech, and if you're somebody that's high, that's super high up when it comes to AdMech, at what point can you no longer differentiate between male and female?
Yeah.
So that would rule out having to use something that looks specifically female unless that's the aesthetic you want to go with. All I'm saying is don't feel shoehorned into that. Now...
But it's a big model, though.
It is a big model. So...
There's a bunch of, like, third-party AdMech stuff you could use.
Yeah. Okay, so the website I'm going to give you, it's not a PG website. Because they've got some... like pinup type stuff.
Raging Heroes?
No, I wasn't going to say Raging Heroes, but that's an option. It is Wargame exclusive.
Yeah.
Has got some female tech priest miniatures as well.
Yeah.
That you might be able to use as part of what you're doing for Call, but the thing is, you know how
big enough,
big
though.
Call is.
Yeah. Unless you have him like riding some kind of
a band.
Yeah.
So one of the other options would be go to Forge World. And if for whatever reason you can't find this stuff, email me, josh@miniwargaming.com. Go to Forge World, and there's a special character for the Mechanicum riding on a giant version of the Abant.
Yeah.
That might be a good starting place.
Yeah, put a regular mini on that.
Yeah, I think that could look super cool. And that would be about the right size.
Yeah, because I was thinking Raging Heroes, because I actually have one of the like tech priestesses.
Okay, yeah.
And she looks like Dr. Octopus floating in there.
Yeah, okay.
I have that one. But she's really small, but putting her on top of something like an abeyant would be pretty cool. And she totally fits the style of it. And she's not half naked. She actually just has a feminine physique.
Yeah.
Yeah, I answered the question. Yeah.
I'm curious though. Personally, I'm interested to see how this comes along and how you are problem solving it. So keep me posted, josh@miniwargaming.com. Let me know what you're planning on purchasing after you take a look. All right, Josh, will we be seeing any knight and armiger allies with your AdMech anytime soon? If not, why? Keep being cool. You're not my supervisor. I'll be as uncool as I want.
Yeah, you will.
Okay, so knight and armiger allies. So technically speaking, the AdMech stuff that I play is not mine. That's studio. So anybody is free to play that army. Nobody does, but that's not specifically mine. I've never really felt the need to add in any knight stuff to it, but I haven't been playing them a whole lot, especially since the Knight book came out.
Yeah.
What I can say is that I have got a knight plus 3 armigers that Dan from Max Aggression Gaming painted up for me as a commission. Now, if you've seen the armies that Dan brings in, he's a really good painter. He's a really good, crisp, clean painter. And I put him in a headlock long enough to convince him to paint some of my stuff. So I'm super excited. And with any luck, actually, when I go to pick up my Hobbit stuff today or tomorrow, I think they might be just about done. I'm going to do the base on them. But he sent me some pictures, and they look gorgeous. They are House Mortan. And so I'm pretty pumped about that. So if I play AdMech randomly, because usually whatever I play is dependent on what my opponent wants me to bring.
Yeah.
So if one of my opponents wants to play against AdMech and they want to play against a knight, then that's probably when you'll be seeing it. But I bought those primarily to be used alongside the Mordians.
Yep.
So that's what we got. That's all the time we have for the sit and talk portion of the...
It's half an hour already?
Yeah.
Huh.
Time flies when you're having fun. So we're going to jump into the vault for the second half. So if you're a vault member, check out the link below. If you're not a vault member, you can check it out anyways. Go to the link. You get a 7-day free trial. Blardy, blar, money back guarantee, all that other stuff. You can just watch,
other content.
you can just watch the video and cancel, or you can watch the video and then watch other bat reps and stuff we have in the vault and then just cancel. You do you. Now, if you got questions for Quirk next week, keep in mind, leave them on this video, not the vault video, because we won't actually look there. And just address them to David, which is his actual first name.
Yep.
So,
address them to Lloyd.
Lloyd?
Because his middle name is Lloyd.
Yeah.
And he hates it.
I don't know as much. Does he hate it as much as he hates David?
Well,
Because he gets upset when people call him David.
He does?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Thanks for tuning in. Happy wargaming.